Uncle Bill here from DEADPIT Radio, and I'm going to attempt to do a review of a film that is pretty much unreviewable, but I'm going to attempt it. If I succeed is yet to be seen, but it's a film that I felt the need to talk about because I'm a big um, advocate for a lot of these Cat 3 films because I think that they're the Asian version of what would be the video nasties for us and what would end up, ultimately being the more extreme kinds of films, but sometimes those are the most entertaining. This one is right up there in the top 3, at least the top 3 of the most extreme Cat 3 films that I've seen, um, just for the content alone. But this is 1994's, Red to Kill. And this is about the only image from this that I can show you, um, because it doesn't lend itself well to the visual arts, let's say. So, how to talk about this film? I'm going to try to be as delicate and mindful as I can in these politically correct ages that we're living in. The film is set in a community living home for people who are intellectually disabled. Let's say that. And within the opening 5 minutes of this movie, by the way, there is a screen crawl that basically says that the director wants to let everybody know that, all of these disabled people in Asia are being mistreated and that a lot of times people are not listening to them and they're not paying attention to their needs. And because of this, a lot of times, there's a lot of abuse, a lot of neglect, and a lot of really bad things that are happening. And that this is what this movie is about, kind of highlighting those things, pointing those things out, and, hopefully there'll be change within that. Now, that being said, I kind of feel like that in the same way that, like in Salo, there was the whole thing about that it's a politically it's representing, the politics of that era in this country. And the same thing about, um, several other exploitation films. I kind of sometimes feel like that maybe those kind of things are just a way for the director to deflect some of the attention away from like some of the awful things that he's just getting ready to show you and in just like an exploitation style. So, and within the first 5 minutes of this movie, there's also a scene where, an intellectually disabled child is killed. There is torture. There is sexual stuff. I'm not even sure what word you can even say on YouTube anymore, but let's just go with, um, let's go with, grape or, there's grape. Let's say that. Um, so y- you're introduced to a guy by the name of Chan who is the kind of the villain of the piece, and he is incredibly attracted to the color red because of a trauma that happened to him when he was a child. When he was a child, like his mother was having an affair on his father in front of him, and his father bursts in and like tries to kill him, but ends up getting killed by the mother, and then the mother ends up accidentally killing herself, and all this blood and stuff goes all over him. And so forever then he kind of connects the color red to sex and murder. And so anytime he sees a woman who's wearing red, especially in any kind of provocative way, he just goes crazy, he just goes insane, and he, wants to assault them and then also murder them. So fast forward, he's a worker, a teacher at this facility with these people that have intellectual disability, and there's a young girl who is kind of like the lead heroine of the film, I guess. Her name is Ming Ming, and she's just super happy, positive, upbeat, um, character who also is really into dancing, and she's like in all these talent shows and things that are around the area, and all the people in this home love her, including like this one particular other teacher who takes her under her wing and is kind of with her for the entire time. At first, she really, really likes Chan and thinks that he's this like great guy who's trying to help her out and all this stuff. So one day she comes in and she's talking to him. She's wearing a red dress and she's going to do this show, this dancing kind of number, and she wants to tell him about it, but all he like can think about is this red, and he's just starts, he keeps trying to tell her to get away from him, but she doesn't understand, and he just freaks out, assaults her multiple times, and to the point where she's almost catatonic. And he goes on trial, and then of course gets acquitted, and goes like after that he just goes insane. He shaves his head. He looks completely different. He, like, puts on this, like, singlet kinda thing like you see somebody wearing the Olympics, and then busts back into this home where these people are, and just goes crazy on them and starts to, attack people, and by this point, the other teacher, the female teacher, realizes what's going on, and she decides to kinda, like, battle him, to try to keep him away from Ming Ming. And, um, it just is a crazy fucking all out violent brawl from that point on, with him just, losing his mind, using all kinds of implements on people, like trying to kill them. He's kinda like he kinda hulks up or something too, like when he gets in this state, like, I mean, they stab him with things and punch him, but he can't be hurt when he's in that crazed kinda state. And, you know, I think it should probably be stated that a lot of the assault sequences go on for quite a while, which is what makes this film even more disturbing. There's a couple of things that make this one of the most kind of graphic and violent, disturbing films that I've seen of the Cat 3 ones. Number 1, of course, is the setting that it takes place in and who he's doing this stuff to. Number 2 is how long those scenes go on, of course. And number 3 is just how kinda like, ruthless the scenes are. It's directed by the same guy that has directed, like, a ton of these. Billy Tang, um, I think he did Run and Kill, and I'm pretty sure that, like, he also did, several of he did Doctor Lamb and Run and Kill and several other, you know, crazy Asian Cat 3 extreme titles, but the ending of this one is not what you'd expect either. Uh, it's incredibly just heartbreaking and just I don't know. It's just it's not it doesn't end the way you think it's going to end whatsoever. And for all those reasons, it's got to be in my top 3 list of like just the hardest to watch like of these. That being said, it's incredibly, incredibly effective. It's well directed, it's well acted, very well acted, almost too well acted in some places. The cinematography is really good. It's comic bookish sometimes, especially with Chan when he kind of becomes this hulked up kind of steroid, crazed um, killer, but it never goes too far where it becomes, overly comical. It just is crazy enough where you still believe it. Um, I don't know if I can say I recommend this movie because that it's hard to recommend something like this, but if you are interested in Cat 3 movies, I think it's an important kind of legacy piece of history and a pretty entertaining film in kind of what they were trying to do. It's not a film for everybody, and people who are sensitive to the things that I talked about, like, should not watch this movie. not sure anybody should watch this movie really, but like, um, if you're into that kind of style of cinema, and if you like his other films, that director, you will like this film. Um, so don't say I didn't warn you, I guess, but I do say, like if something to check out, like if you like Cat 3 films, you like this particular style of film, it's something to watch for sure. So it just recently got re-released on Blu-ray, but Red to Kill, it's out there. Um, do yourself a favor and do or do not watch this film, but don't say I didn't warn you. Check us out over at deadpit.com.
I'd like to tell people, thumbs up the video, Uncle Bill.
Would you?
Yes. Thumbs it up with violence and fury and just love everything about it.
You hit the heart button, then you hit the ass button, then you hit the go fuck yourself button. Follow that up with the I don't give a shit button.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last House on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. Do you know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decades.
We have a literal jukebox full of songs and thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram and help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million subscribers starts today.
So deadpitonpatreon.com. Join today. Tiers start at only $1, but I'd recommend at least the $10 tier.
You can do 50. The stock market's crashing around us, folks, but send us money.